Right, so today what we're trying to do is we will do the developer profile generator, and we're gonna run this on Node. So this is a Node application, and the way we run it is we have an index.js, and we're gonna run it, and it's gonna ask for favorite color and a username, and we're gonna get this information from GitHub. And I need to show you that because I haven't shared the screen. There you go. Cool. Alright, so all of this thing. Right, so let's get and work it on. Alright, so let's build a node. So I clone this thing down and let's open it. Right, so first thing that we need to do when we start a node is run npm init. So npm init. Alright, so we gonna put in the package version. I already need that. Yes, entry report index.js, no test command. That's the git. Keyword, author, license. Yep, okay, good. So I'm gonna keep that, and this is my package.log. Right, just gonna delete that bit. Alright, so in order to the first thing that we did is let's create index.js and run a terminal on this. So open in terminal. Alright. So in this one, let's do a quick one, console log something. No index.js. Right, cool. So we got it here. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get the user input, right? So in order to do that, we're gonna use a package called inquirer. So npm inquirer, right? And this is the package. So just to quickly remind of how you should check a package. So this is the package, right? So you said like you're not gonna know the name exactly. You're gonna wandering around Google. You're gonna say something like npm package to get user input, right? You're gonna wander around something like this. It's gonna have a bunch of things, right? And let's say that you go onto here. How do you know that whether you should use this? So a couple of things that you should do. First of all, just quickly see how many times they got downloaded. So this is a weekly download, which is very good, right? Then the next thing I want you to do is go to GitHub. So this repo thing, go to GitHub and quickly have a look at the stars. So the higher it is, the better it is. Look at the last commit. So this commit is roughly 2 months ago, right? And more or less of that should give you a feeling of whether this package is still being supported, right? Being out supported doesn't mean that the package is bad. It just means that when you use it and there's something wrong, no one's gonna be there to support you, right? If you need more like things to be sure about whether you should use it, you should just check the issues real quick, right? Look at this, see how long it is before, and see whether there is someone who actually interact on it, right? So this is kind of okay, not the best, but it's kind of okay. There's still some people talking back and forth on it, right? So that kind of give you a feeling of whether I should use this or not, right? And like at the end of the day, if you say this is the only package that can do what I want, no one else actually doing it, and even though that this seems to be outdated and no one's supporting it, I can get it done, then sure, feel free to go with it. But do aware that that might cause security issue and everything. But there's no problem with you go with whatever you found, right? Cool. So this is how you install it. I'm gonna go to do it in here. Right. So npm install inquire. right? And when you do that, you're gonna see that in here, magically, not magically enough, my internet is slow. Right, so that's the dependency right here, right? It's gonna add it in. Cool. So just quickly before we actually run, uh, normally in here, in the README in a Node application, you should have a how to use, because it's not as straightforward as just like a normal website. So you should have something like uh, run npm install, right, and then run node dot index dot js, right, something like that. I'm gonna show you how to just like properly do this, because we never actually do something like this. It looks so ugly. Alright, so we have an inquirer, right? We install that. So let's look how it actually being used. So you require inquirer, you prompt, and then you have a bunch of answer, right? Cool, easy. What's prompt? Prompt is a question. It returns a promise. Cool, promise. What's question? Question is an array, right? Contain a question object. So let's go and look at what question object is. Question object is a hash containing question related value. I'm not sure what this hash means, but it's an object. It has some type, name, message. It has a bunch of them, but for now I'm just going to do type, name, and choice. Right? So let's do some quick thing. So let's do type. So we need to talk about the GitHub username and the color, right? So the GitHub username and the color. So first thing first, let's require it. Right. And do you see how it actually do the autofill for you? Right? So that's how you know that you install it correctly, because it's autofill for you. And most of you are gonna see that even though I run npm install, I don't have a node module here. And normally we don't, because we never actually go inside the folder. So what it actually happened is it's a setting of VS Code to, I think, hide in tree or something. There is an option in here that you can say that you want to hide show branch, not that appearance. Uh, I don't actually remember though. But you can put it here so that it can, like, there's an option in here. I will find it later if you need to hide the file. Normally the file in git ignore, to hide it totally in the tree so that you don't have to open it again. Alright, so there's a question. And given that this thing return a promise, I want to just quickly build a function because I want to use a single wait. So I have a function get user input, right? And this one I'm gonna call inquirer dot prompt, right? And in here I have two questions. The first one is about the user input, the user GitHub name. So you have type of input, I guess. It looked like input. Yep, input. Message. Please input your GitHub username. Right, and that's it. We don't have choices because it doesn't have anything. Right, cool. The second one is type, and most of people actually do the choice. So I'm just gonna do choice. So this message. Please choose your favorite color. And I spelled it wrong. Wait, yeah, of course. Choices would be okay. So how do we do choices? Choices is an array. Choice array is defined a function. Nope, we don't do that. Array value can be symbol as number or object containing a name and a value, right? So we have a name and a value. So name, I'm just gonna go with red and blue. That'd be easiest. So name is red and value is red. Actually, name is what to display, so I want it to have that. Oh, this needs to be an object. Okay, and blue and blue. Alright, so this is the thing, right? And remember that this is a promise, so I'm gonna return this promise, right? And now I'm just gonna do a wait on get user input, right? So this get me the result. So actually I'm gonna response, and now let's go select the response. Okay. So node index. Oh yeah, I need to have a string function. Okay. So we're gonna write a function called main where we're gonna run everything. Right, and here we're just gonna call main. You must provide name parameter. Oh, oh, this one need a name, right? Yeah, okay, so name here is username, and name here is color. Cool. So it said right here, right? I missed the name. So it said error. You must provide name parameter. And does it tell you exactly where it is? Yes, sadly I don't think it does. So in this case, you just have to kind of just figure it out. It doesn't really show you here that actually yeah it does, right? So it's set at new prompt. So you kind of guess that it comes from a prompt thing, but it doesn't tell you exactly what's going wrong. Like because name here can easily mean name here, right? Yeah, it's just kind of have to guess that. Alright, so run this. Input username. That's my name, and I can go up and down. Red. Cool. Done. So I got that. Right. So that's the name here. So I'm gonna create a cons here with username key. Actually, do I even want to do that? That's a bit overkill. Yeah, that's a bit overkill. Okay, so in here, I'm gonna use the object deconstruct from response to get my username and color. So instead of doing this, I'm gonna deconstruct right here to get username and to get color. Username and color. Just quickly, let's make sure that it actually runs. Cool. There you go, magnitude and blue. Alright, so now we have that. Now it's time to build an HTML, right? So I'm gonna show you a bunch of ways, 3 ways actually, to get it done. And we're gonna go from easy to difficult, right? So what's the easy bit? The easy way to do it is we do it straight away in JavaScript, right? So I'm gonna write another function right here. Actually, you know what? Let's build another function. So generate HTML.js, right? And I'm gonna call this one easy, right? Make sense? So const easy equal, so this is a function, right? So this function take in a username and a color, right? And we're gonna export this module.exports, right? And in here you see that this actually works. This is an object, but this works because this is basically a shorthand for something like this. But because your key and your value basically have the same name, like same string, you can omit the value, so it becomes something like this, right? So this is equal to this, the same thing. I'm just gonna quickly console log username and color here to make sure that we didn't miss that. Right, so in here, I'm gonna sorry, I'm gonna require our file. Right, remember that when you require, you don't need the .js. It actually understands it itself. Right, and in here, I'm just gonna call easy with username and color. If this run correctly, this should still console log me similar thing. Right, there you go. Cool. Now, let's start. So what's the simple way? The simple way is you construct your HTML string in here, in JavaScript. So how do you do that? Simple, right? You const HTML string, and you put your HTML in here. So let's try that out. I'm just gonna quickly switch this to HTML to build a page. For now, we're just gonna do P1, oh sorry, H1. Hello, my name is, I'm gonna put thing in here, okay? And also, we're gonna put in here my favorite color is in there. Oh, come on. Alright, cool. So this is my HTML. So the first way that we can do it is we do it like this. Right? And remember that because this is a literal string, you can start putting your variable in here by just have a dollar sign and a bracket, and you can put in here username here, username here, and color here, right? So this is your string, and you just return it. Actually, we can write this. Let's write this into a file. Okay, so I'm gonna call this easy. Yeah, easy. Sorry. Alright. So how do you write to a file? So we are going to use a very simple way, which is the npm write to file. I think that's in the fs. Not really what I mean. Write file. Right. So we're gonna use something like that. This is 13.3. We're not even here. I think write file is what we're doing. Alright, so let's require the fs. Fs is come by default with all with the node, so you don't have to install anything. Right? So I want to put the file directly in here. So I'm gonna do another function to generate a file name, and we're gonna do that by, so I'm gonna save, first of all we're gonna save in HTML, right? And I want to get, just quickly get the time, like the timestamp, so that I can make the file name like unique. So I'm gonna do that. Alright, so new date to string to get time. There you go. So that's give me the time. That give me the current time to be exact. Right. So in here, I'm just gonna get the time, and because I'm do .html, I'm gonna send it out to HTML. So I'm gonna do .html. Right. Alright. So now I got my name. So we're gonna do the right file, right? But we're gonna do it in a sync way. So I'm gonna need util, right, to make it into promise. Right file promise to promisify ms right file. Yeah, it doesn't know that this word promisify. Alright, so if I want to use promise, this needs to be a sync. I'm gonna do a wait right file promise. We're gonna put a path. So the path is generate a name. To be exact, I'm just gonna put it in my current folder, and the data is actually a string. Right? So that's it. This one now. Easy that. Alright. Cool. Alright, now let's run and see whether it works. Nice. Doesn't. Alright. So the path argument must be string URL receive type function. Oh yes, this should be I forget to call it. I passed the whole function in. So let's try again. Right. There you go. That's a file. Ta-da! It has a bunch of things here that I don't really like, but that's because we go to new line. But that's fine. Alright, so let's open it and see how that look like. Run code. What's run code? Review in Explorer. Let's run that. Cool. Hello, my name is Mac and Cheese. My favorite color is red. Cool. Right? So that's an easy way. Why is it easy? Because it's straightforward. Right? You can just have that and that's gonna run. Right, now let's try another way, which is a medium way, I believe. It's not really harder, but it's considerably harder if you compare to easy. So why is there a medium way, right? So the disadvantage that we can easily see when we're trying to do something like this is because this is a string. So there is no checking at all. Like if I miss this, so if you're missing something, if you missed your diff, if you missed your body ending, no one's gonna tell you that. So that's while this is okay, this is not scalable at all, right? So we're gonna go to a medium way. So what's the medium way? Medium way is basically similar. So also username, color, but instead of we write in here, we're gonna write an actual HTML, right? Because if you look at this, this is just a string. There's nothing else. It's just a string, right? So if it's a string, then why don't we write it in an actual HTML page, and then sorry HTML file, and then we read it back, right? We can totally do that. So how can we do that? So first of all, I did clear my thing. Okay. So first of all, this is my HTML. So I'm gonna build a template.html. Okay, and I put it in. Okay, so I'm gonna have here my name and everything in here. All good? Alright, so in here, in addition to write, I'm gonna read. So I'm gonna read the file. Right? Alright, so let's read that file. So I'm gonna wait for read file promise, and I'm gonna read in here is a path. So I'm gonna read template.html, and I believe you have to put in UTF-8. If not, then it's gonna go with something very stupid. So this is my template. Actually, let's try to have it and not having it. And let's console log template. Alright, so let's run it. And I have here this and that. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't run that medium thing. And here, I'm just gonna run, put it there, I'm gonna run medium. It doesn't yell. Alright, medium here. Alright, cool. So let's run that. See, so we got the file content, right? That's good. So let's see if we didn't have the UTF-8, what does it look like? Okay, so it go to a buffer. Right, so we need UTF-8, right? So now let's see what is the type of template. Right, so this is our template. And let's see what is the type of it. So it's a string, right? Surprise, surprise. You read something and it becomes a string. So all the file basically is a string. You just need to know how to read them correctly. So why is something a string important? Because it's a string, meaning that you can replace it. You can change it. You can change the content. And what do I mean by that? So in here, right, you will say that if I read the template, I will always have magenta and my favorite color always red. So how do I use the username and color here? What you can do yourself is you can set up some special combination that doesn't make any sense if you leave it alone, like no other program is gonna use. It's kind of hard to do that, but like I think it's quite simple and it's really easy to do unique to get a unique kind of template to format in a way. So let me show you some way, right? So one way that I see some students actually do is they put a round bracket and put in here like username, or you can just have some like weird way of doing this, like something like this. I don't know, like it's just something that to be unique. So I'm just gonna use something like this, right? So I'm gonna username, have color, right? And what this means is that this is a placeholder, right? They are a placeholder, and because you read it as a string, you have a chance to replace this placeholder with whatever you want. So let's try that and see how that works. I need to remove that to template. Right, see, now this is a string. And what you can do is, you can replace it. So, const HTML string equal template replace. Right, and in this one, you are going to replace this with the real username. Right, and because replace actually return you a string, right, it return you a string, you can chain it. Right, you can just do more than just one replace at one time. And this is one, you're gonna replace the color, and let's console log the HTML string. Let's see what does it look like. Right, see how this changed and this changed, but this doesn't change. Why is it? So I stumbled on this a while ago and I don't quite understand until I actually Google it and what it means. So if you Google for JavaScript string replace and just quickly look at that, it's gonna set the blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so if you're replacing a value, only the first instance of the value is gonna be replaced. To replace all occurrence, you need to use a global modifier. So we're gonna have a look at that. But let's explain exactly what we're facing, right? So we have two username. So in here's correct, two username, and only one of them is replaced, the other one doesn't. So this is a problem. So we scroll down to more example. This is how we need to do it. So we have something like that. But this doesn't work for us because our string actually it does work. But we're gonna so this is what we call a regular expression. So what we can do is we can have a look at what regular expression mean. So regular expression is a sequence of characters that define a search pattern, right? Just need to know that. So the way you use that is that you can create a new regex and it's just simply as look like this. Plus a equal new regex and you put the string that you want to search, and because I want to search global I put G in, and now my A is searched on global, right? And if you want to learn more about regex, the website I would recommend you to would be regxpr, no, this one. So regxr. So the way you use it is that you build your expression here, and I normally use my cheat sheet here to tell me what should I write, and then you delete all this, then you start typing your text. And if this matching the whole of your text, then you good. Your text is passing or your expression is passing, depending on which one you're doing. And if it's passing halfway or not the whole thing, this means your text is failing or your expression is failing. You know what I mean, right? So we're gonna use a regex because it's a regex, and we're gonna replace the global. So in here, instead of this, we're gonna go new regex of this string on a global scale. I'm gonna do this exactly for the seams for the other one, just in case that later on if we decide that we want to add it on. Right, so now let's run and try. Okay, now none of them actually doing this. Alright, template replace new regex r. Did I do this correctly? Oh, because it's trying to escape this. Because I used a special symbol. Um, because I use a special symbol, I need to escape it. So I need to use backslash on that. I think I also need to escape this. But let's try again. Oh yeah, I need to double backslash because one backslash, like it needs to escape the backslash. Yes. This thing is a bit annoying. Alright, there we go. Alright, so it changed it here, it changed it here, it changed the color. Cool. Right, so now we got the string as normal. We can then write it out. As simple as that. Right, so let's try it. Blue. Right, and after a while, so that A02, that's our latest one. 19G and blue. Right, So that's the other way. So to sum up this is basically you build a template in HTML, a real HTML. You put yourself some special character in here, and then because you use an HTML, all of this is a valid HTML. So mean if something went wrong like that, it will tell you exactly that hey, something went wrong. So VS Code or any other editor are gonna check for you, except for Notepad, unless you're actually coding on Notepad though, which I would not recommend unless you actually know what you're doing. Even though if you know what you're doing, it's just don't go to Notepad, right? Sorry, a bit out of the thing. Okay, so after you got the template, you read the template in, and because it's a file, reading it, which is basically read a string, then you can start replacing a bit that is special in your string with your data, right? So that's the medium way. There's another one I'm gonna show you. That's the last one, which is the hard way. And I'm gonna say it hard, but it's not really hard. It's actually a bit simpler than the medium. It's hard because you need to find and learn something new. I think that's the reason why I mark it as hard, right? But so why is there a hard way? You may ask, why can we just stop at medium way, right? Why is there a hard way? What can this have a weakness? Like what weakness can this have? It does. The weakness of this is that you have to build this custom thing, right? And then because you build a custom thing, there will be cases when you say, yeah, I want this, I want that, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you need more than just a string replacement, right? And basically what we have been doing so far is what we call a template engine. Meaning what? Meaning that you give it a string, a meaningful string, and then you run some code on it, on that string, and that code is gonna pump out an HTML, the valid HTML, based on whatever data is available, right? That is the meaning of template engine. So let's quickly look at what template engine means. Template engine is specific kind of template processing module that is yes, it's a bunch of things, but if there is an image, so something like this, right? So you have your data, you have your template, as we said before. We put through a template engine, and that's the result document, which is an HTML, right? So we been doing this so far. We have the template, and we've been doing like we build our own template engine, right? Because we read the file, then we start replacing a bunch of things to what our data is. We are basically building a new template engine. And when I said we are building a new thing, it means that there are someone somewhere out there already built something for this kind of thing. And believe me, there's a bunch of them. There's like a lot of them. And there's not really something good, better, or worse. It's just you have to use what you feel comfortable with. So I'm gonna show you one of the template engine that I think is the easiest to learn, which is called EJS. Right? So let's have a look at that. So EJS is the embedded JavaScript template. And let's see how it works. So you install it, you include it, you set up your data, you have your template string, you put your data in, and I don't see the result though. It doesn't really give you the result, but that's how you use it. Yes, you got some HTML without actually telling you what what the result should look like. But that's how it works. So let's try it out. So because the reason why I said this is hard is because you have to learn something completely new, right? So this is HAS. This is completely new thing. So that's one reason why this is hard. But because we're already familiar with how on the very backbone of the HAS, the template engine work, It's basically doing exactly the same thing that we're doing right now. So why not try it out? So let's try it. Right, so let's install it. EJS. Alright, so thank you, build check. Yep, not really care on that. So we're gonna require EJS and we're gonna quickly do something simple and see how that works. Const EJS equal require EJS. Right, good. So now let's learn how it actually used. So usage. We're gonna compile that. So this is render HTML string. That's the string, that's the option. EJS render. Okay, so we just render. So string, data, and option. I don't think we need to use option though. Let's have a look later about what option do this have. But there's a tag. So this is the one that we're looking for. So output the value into the template, right? Because we want to basically replace our username and our color into our template. So we're gonna build something like this. So let's build it. So we are called template. I don't think. Oh, they actually have HAS. Cool. Let's use that. Okay. So in here, instead of that, we're gonna use what's the symbol? Less than percent equal. Less than percent equal. And we're gonna get percent close. Is that how to use it? Let's see. Yep. Alright. So in here I'm gonna put username. And it already doesn't like it. And in here I'm gonna put color. Right? Simple. Then how do you use it? You call render. HAS render. So in here I'm gonna read the file again because we need the template. But this one is .has. Then we have our string to be has.render. Put the template string as template. And the data that we have would be username and color. Right? Again, remember that this is basically a short way of doing username here, and color. Right? Again, the reason why I can omit this is because the username, the key, and the value of the object are the same, so I can omit it. Right? So we got that. So now let's quickly console log and see how does that look like. So index here we're gonna do hard. Okay, so let's try the there we go. We have a mac and cheese here, we have a red right here. So that's how it works. Just to make sure that we didn't break it, let's try something else. Actually, let's console log here, say it's hard. It's not that hard. Alright, so let's try that. So mac and cheese, I'm gonna go with blue. It's not hard, so it's running that, and it replaces ourselves with this and that and that. Right? Cool. A couple more things that I can try and use it is there's an if like this, right? So this is what you usually do in JavaScript, and at the back, like in behind the scene when any template engine does, they always have some kind of similar thing like this conditional. So let me show you what does it mean. Does an if then have an else? Scriptlet tag, file control flow, no output. They don't actually have an else. They only have an if. I guess then that's it. We're just gonna call if then. Alright, so I know that my color is always either red or blue, right? So let's try something else. So I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna say here, sorry, wrong symbol. So I'm gonna say, oh wait, this actually, it seems to be like JavaScript. So I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna use JavaScript instead. So if color equal to blue, we're gonna output a very nice text saying, I love the blue sky in the morning, right? And else, if color is equal to red, we gonna say this is need to be open bracket, and it needs close bracket, and open again, and close again. We're gonna say something like, I love the red sky in the dawn, right? So what I'm trying to say is, if my color is blue, then I'll put this line. If my color is red, I'll put that line. Let's see whether it works that way. An expect token, why expect that? Okay, so my HAS doesn't work that way. So I'm guessing that it doesn't allow me to do something like this. Okay. So let's try out this. So we split it out. There you go. So I set blue, so that's why it show up. I love the blue sky in the morning. And let's try again. If I do red, then what does it mean? Red, I love the sky in the dawn, right? So this is conditional template, and template engine can do this because it again it's just a string, right? So they are basically looking for this code or like that code, and they try to understand it exactly the same way with how we were doing before, like with this, right? But they're already building it, and a lot of people supporting it, meaning that whatever they're doing is on a larger scale, and there's much more uh, tools that are useful for us. So this is a template engine is something that very good, and there should be something that you guys looking for if you guys do some kind of similar tasks, so like generating an HTML. There's a lot more that I can show you. Just quickly, some mustache JS like that. That is a template engine. There's a pug JS. Oh man, there's so many. Yeah, it actually has the face of a dog. But as I said, the number of template engine is so high. You can look for everything that you want and just like stick with something that you like and just use it. Alright, anyway, so we got to that part. Alright, so this thing is simple. So that's three ways that we can do. We can either write an HTML in your JS and then put, because using template engine, sorry, not template engine, using string literal and then inject directly the variable. You can do that. The good thing of this is that it's straightforward, it's easy, you don't need to learn anything new, everything is simple. The bad thing about this is that you are writing a string, HTML string, supposedly HTML string, inside JavaScript, meaning there will be no validation at all. Like if you're missing something like in here, it doesn't tell you exactly, right? So that's the bad thing of it. A medium way is that you build a template, right? So you're trying to overcome the bad thing of an easy way. You build a template in here, you build everything, you put some special character that you know what it means, and then you can replace it later on. Then you read the file in, and remember, like every file when you read it, it's just basically text. and you read the file, and we have a template which is a string, and then you can replace your special character with whatever you know that is an actual name, an actual data, right? So in here, I know that I want to replace this string with the data of user, and that string with the data of color. Cool. Then it's just writing as normal, right? So good thing of this is that you are building HTML in HTML, meaning if there's something wrong, you can replace it. The VS Code and editor gonna check it. The bad thing about this is not really a bad thing, but it's more of a not there yet thing because you are building this on your own. So any cool thing, any um, useful thing, you need to build it your own, and you might or might not even think about it. So like if I'm saying like you remember the if thing, to build this is actually quite hard to do if you do it on your own, right? So the hard way coming into that, you learn about template engine because the medium way is basically your template engine. The hard way is you learn someone else's template engine, the one that is much more developed, and then you use it. And the way you use it, you see, like exactly the same, right? You read the template. Sorry, you build the template in their own special way. You read the template, exactly read the template. You say, hey, what is the data that's supposed to be in? You replace the data, right? And then you write out. So basically, it's a similar thing, exactly similar. You build a template, you read the template, you tell it what to change in the template, and then that's it. So why is it hard? The hard thing is that you need to learn a new template engine. You need to learn a new system. That's all, right? And sometimes it's hard because some template engine is not very straightforward to learn. I do feel that sometimes, but not all of them or most of them are quite simple and straightforward. So take your time and choose what way is suitable for you. Okay? So let's go from there to the next bit, which is I believe is the GitHub one. Right? So we're gonna go and deal with GitHub. Okay? So it's gonna ask for something like profile image, username, user bio, public repo, followers, GitHub stars, and number of user following. Right? So let's quickly see whether GitHub actually have an API because that thing is should be belong to API for sure. Right? So there is something GitHub API version 3. So how do we use it? Current version by default. Yes, I don't care about that. How do I get user? Alright, get a single user, that's what I want. So you pass in slash user slash response. Sorry, slash users slash username. Wait, what did I click? Alright, many of the resource on the user API was shortcut. Then respond. Alright, so we can get that. Alright. So get a single user. What is the main path of this? So this is a request. So this is the main the path of the request. And we're gonna put in slash user slash thing mankinchi. So this is my GitHub. Alright, so I have a login, I have an avatar. What else do I need? User bio, public repo, follower, following, GitHub stars. GitHub stars. How many GitHub stars do I have? And what is GitHub star? I have 6 in here. I think star means following. But I mean not followings. Like followings mean how many repo that you follow. So I mark a bunch of them that I like and I follow them. I think what does it mean? Is that what it means? So star URL, rebel URL. Wait, it's not straightforward, and I don't think that's something that I want to pay a lot of attention on. So I'm just gonna go with the basic one. So this is my data. So index, get user input. Then I'm gonna write a new one. So get GitHub info of a username, right? So to use it, I'm gonna use Axios because it's the simplest way, I believe, to just run a request. I actually haven't used anything else from it, but you feel free to try everything else. Right, so response equal to await. We're gonna run Axios dot get. No, has to inquire it. Axios. Right, and in here, need to put in that. And I'm gonna use literal string. Name. Alright, cool. Let's console log response. Let's see what does it do. Get GitHub info with the username. Oh wait, I don't want to install again. Alright, so that is my data. So I need to go into data. Just gonna go this data. Okay, and I'm just gonna return the whole data. Right, so class data equal that. I'm just gonna ignore the color for now because coloring is something regarding to styling and we don't need to do it now. I'm just gonna pay more attention to everything else from that. Alright, so I put data here. Here we have data. Right, and instead of color, I'm gonna put the whole data in. And in our template, I don't have this, but I'm gonna have my public rebel number count is in data dot public rebel. My follower is data dot follower. And I am following. Yeah, I actually don't follow anyone. Cool, I'm just gonna go with that real quick. I'm gonna go with this. Okay. Sorry guys. So let's try that and see whether it works. That's the latest one. My public rebel count is. Oh yeah, nothing actually show up. Why doesn't it showing up? Alright. Can we somehow render the data here? And I'm just gonna turn off this question because I'm not using it anymore. And I can have a default, I believe. Oh yeah. And because I'm kind of tired of typing. So this is an object promise. Huh, did we forget to await something? Do I need to await this? I already await this one. But this is the data. Yeah, this is the data. So why is it saying that is a promise? Huh, weird. Alright, let's split the data out. So this is public repos, followers, and following. And in here, public repos is not defined, but I got it. Okay, so the problem is saying here is that public repo is not defined, meaning I'm sending it something wrong. Yeah, what's up?
You didn't change it in your definitions, function definition.
What definition?
Where you define that hard drive, you didn't change it. It stayed that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I missed that. Okay, so I need this in here and in here. Yep, thank you. Cool. Alright, let's run that. And yep, it's still empty. Okay, this is interesting. Let's console log everything that I have. Because for some reason I think that it's become undefined. Yep, it's undefined. Wait, why is it undefined? This thing is... But if I console log here, the data should already be available. Nope, the data is also not available. Do I need to await this? But why do I need to await this? This already await. Oh no, actually, sorry, I need to await this one. Because I need to, this is a sync one and I need the data from this, so I need to await this one. Okay, so I can actually use data on this one. And the data here should work. I should have the data right here. No. Oh no. There's no here, just data. There you go. Yep, sorry. Because even this is a sync function. So if it's run, it's gonna keep running because it's a sync, so it's gonna keep running unless you say stop. So even though that it stopped right here before it goes to the next line to return data, it doesn't mean that in here when you run this line without a wait, it's gonna stop and wait for this. It's gonna keep const data equal to undefined because you didn't return anything, and then it goes to console log data, which is undefined. So I need to await for this to finish to return me data before I can go and continue on it. Okay. So I'm gonna redo this a bit. So data here, template, not that, this one. So leave it there. Generate. Alright, so this should work. There So that's the bit where you do with GitHub, right? So now the last bit of this is actually before we doing that, you see how there's a bunch of them right here, which is very annoying me, right? So how can we how can we ignore this? Because in a way, like there's something that you can just go in and delete everything before you you send you commit your file, right? But given that sometimes you're gonna say, oh, I need this in here. Maybe it'll be your cache, maybe it's your log or something. Maybe you don't need that. Like that's the point. You don't need that. You don't need them at all. So what can you do about it? What you can do is in git ignore, because I run this with the on GitHub. When you create a new repo, I'm saying that I'm running this for Node application, so that way it ignore a bunch of things. So I'm just gonna quickly delete all that. So the git have too many active. Oh yeah, so I need to put the node model back. Right. Yep. Okay. Bye bye. So what I can do is I can hide everything that end with HTML just by that. See how it suddenly create everything out? It also create this thing out, which is not a good thing, but that's a start. We can go with something like that. But for now, what I'm gonna do is when I generate it, I'm just gonna put an additional underscore. So that's how I know which one to ignore. And in here, you need an underscore before you can ignore. In this one, I'm gonna quickly put an underscore before them, so they will get ignored really fast. Right, so remember that that thing is kind of similar to how you search your file on Windows. And you should always put node module in here because you don't ever want to commit your node module at all. Like your node module is really really big at some point, so never ever commit that. Okay, so that's just a quick thing about git ignore. Let's come back to the BDF one. Yeah, so a bunch of people actually use Puppeteer to convert into BDF, and honestly, Puppeteer is a very famous one, right? I don't even ignore it. It's actually famous. So how does Puppeteer work? So Puppeteer, do they actually tell you how it works? It's a download Puppeteer, blah 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 blah. Alright, so something like this. So the way it works is it basically load up a Chrome, or what they call is a headless Chrome, meaning it's a Chrome application that you don't actually see UI, and they run it up, they put it up, they load your page, and then they may take a screenshot, they can translate into PDF, they can do a bunch of things, right? And that's how they do it. So example, create PDF, you load the Puppeteer, you create a new page, you go to a page, you make it into PDF, right? So that's how it works. That's just the BDF thing, right? But let's ignore that. Let's try something new. Let's look for something new, right? So npm HTML to BDF, and I know there's a bunch of them out there. Honestly, there's a bunch of them, and maybe we're gonna go in look at one and see whether we should use it and maybe learn how to use it. And if we cannot, I don't know, go back to the normal one. Alright, so something like this is something that you should not use. It commit 4 months ago, 1 star, so no one actually using it. Alright, I think a lot of people actually using Phantom. I think Phantom is being removed. No one actually using it anymore. Actually, sorry, like I mean out of support. That's what I meant. So it has been archived. So this is also not a good thing. Have a look at Phantom.js. So Phantom.js is, yes, it's a discontinued headless browser. Yep. Alright, so Phantom is not a good way to go. Let's see where we can find anything else instead of Puppeteer. So Puppeteer alternative. Hmm. Updates, up to date. Alright, so I guess that after a while, what I have figured out is none of them actually have a good support like Puppeteer. So let's go back to Puppeteer. Okay, let's alert. Alright, Puppeteer. If you go in here, you're gonna see that they have a very, not a very big number, but quite large. If you go to GitHub, you're gonna see that they have a bunch of stars and stuff. Right, and used by a lot. Alright, so let's install that. Alright, so while we install it, quickly have a look at how they're actually using it. So BDF, we're gonna go something like that. We're gonna go to a page. But given that we don't actually have a page, how can we do it? Do they have a doc? Yeah, I remember I saw a doc, right? API. Right, but for now, this is how we're gonna go to PDF, right? So we're gonna require Puppeteer. We are using this, so let's just need that in here. Right, so Puppeteer.launch, we go to new page. We don't really want to go to new page. Can I go to my docs, please? So browser on blah 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 blah. Okay, so what can we search for? What should we search for? Page. So there's a bunch of namespace, content that look like something. Set content. Alright, this is the one we're looking for. So we have an HTML markup assigned to the page, and that's what we're gonna do it. We are going to set our HTML string as a content of the page. So instead of go to, we are going to set content to be our HTML string, which is HTML string. And the path, I'm here, I'm gonna have another one. Actually, I'm gonna have here file extension. And instead of HTML, and we're gonna default it to HTML, right? So that the rest of them doesn't break. But if you want anything else from it, then you can put things in. Right, so generate name by default it's gonna use HTML here. If you didn't put anything, it's gonna use HTML here, right? But if you want to use BDF, we gonna have a generate file name in BDF, right? And that's look like it. Alright, so let's save it and see how that works. No, I don't want to install again. Alright, RPG. So that's our thing, and that's our PDF. Let's open it. There you go. So that's the PDF thing. I mean, there's a bunch more things that you want to do, and I think there's styling and everything, but that's mostly that. So let's also ignore that, right? Because we don't want that. So how do we ignore it? So we did here's HTML. We're gonna add another one to ignore everything start with underscore, and then it. than straight out going with this. It's a bit more complicated, but I would go with this if you don't feel like learning a new system. But at the end of the day, I do think that this is very beneficial for now and even for your future, right? So, last thing before we stop, do you remember that Alvina say, I don't like this, right? This is basically you run a node on index, right? It's correct, but you imagine that when you give someone an application, you don't ask them to. Honestly, that's a bit odd. So like you download an application from online, right? No one actually telling you like say, hey, you should click on the underscore abc dot exe to run. No, you never do that. What you should do is you should always go in, look for the file that have that logo and the name with the application name .exe, right? That's on Windows. On Mac, I know that things are a little different. But what I meant is that in order to run your application, it should be straightforward. Like it should be something normal and straightforward. You should not tell people, hey, you should run this file, you should run that file. And imagine that now I have one JS, right? This one look fine. Like why don't I run node generate HTML.js, right? So you should not need to tell the user, hey, you should run this file, you should run that file, right? What you should do is you give them a normal path, like a normal way to just run your system. And the way we do it is that if you go to package.station, remember the script here, right? There's a test by default, but there's another thing that you can put in, and it's default to have it called star, right? By default, it's already having there, right? And star here is where you put in what should your application do when the user start your application. And in this case, what you want to do is you want to say node index.js. You're gonna jump out and say, hey, yeah, this is exactly similar to you write it there. So what's the difference? Right? Let's see how you use the start, right? So after I save it, do you remember that back then when we used the test, we have to run npm run test, right? That's how it go. It's gonna run. This is actually the correct error because we throw an error, right? So that's how it go. It go npm run, so it go into package.station. It looking for in the scripts for the key of test, right? And then it run the value. So basically it run this one. And if you look closely here, this is what it run. And that is what it run, right? So that is how it works. But for the star, it's a special thing. What you can do is you can run npm not run, just say star. And the way it works is go exactly the same middle thing. It go into here, it look for the start, and it run that line, right? And this is the default way of every node application should run. And believe me, there's a bunch of system built on this convention. Your application, when they ask your application to run, it's not gonna be some special params, some special command like node generate HTML thing. It will run a command called npm start, and it doesn't care how your application do. That should be something your application always has to support. That's how your application should run, right? And again, you're gonna jump out, like I said before, you're gonna jump out and you say, hey, what's the difference? Like it does the same thing. It's gonna run the same thing, right? The difference here is that you can run more than once command here, right? You can gonna run something like this. You're gonna run, say, start of profile, min def profile generator, right? So you can do something like that, and when you hit npm start, okay, because this one doesn't work in, I don't know how does this work in Windows. Oh, so Windows user. comment. Right. So you see how it run both of the command, right? And this is a very simple example, right? When you just run like a text, you echo a text. But imagine that in order for your application to run, you need to start your connection to the server, you need to start your connection to the database, you need to prepare, you need to empty your memory, you need to clear your data, you need to clear your trash and everything. And you cannot really ask the user to say, hey, you know what, when you start your program, just like, copy and paste like 5 6 command into it. Like, you cannot just tell them that. What they should expect is that when they run npm start, I don't really care what's happening behind the scene. I need to know that your application start, everything is like starting up, like clicking cache, do connection, everything. And they just need to know one command called npm start, and that's it. They run that, and the application should work, right? And that's the cool thing of the script. And that's how I urge you to start doing from now on. Instead of you going and you say, yeah, run node this file, run node that file. Like, that's totally fine. That's correct way of doing, like, running a node application. But if you work on a project, you should start like thinking about it like a project, right? And you should start knowing stuff like npm star and npm star. I never actually use anything else from that, right? So that is something that I want you to learn and something to keep in mind. Okay. So for all of that is everything that I have. Any question from you guys that I can explain or I can answer? I'm just gonna quickly commit everything. Guys, anything I can help you with?
No, all three. Not for me.
Alright, cool, 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 cool. Alright, then I guess that's it. I'm just gonna quickly run this to npm start. Right, remember this is the only thing that I want to use. Alright, cool. If that's the case, then yeah, I'm guess we're done here. And thanks you guys a lot for joining in. Um, as usual, if you have any question, just slack me and I will sure be there and answer it. All good? Alright.